When you see an insect, how do you feel? Some people think insects are disgusting. We want to help you. We want to teach you more about common insects. It's important to appreciate and assist the insects in our ecosystem. When you know more, you'll be less grossed out and scared. The first reason insects are important is because they pollinate. Without insects and pollination, no plants would stay alive, therefore there'd be no food for us to eat. This is an orange-bedded bee on a daisy. The daisy is shaped like an umbrella, which means its plan for the insects who lands on it is to walk around spreading the pollen with its legs. Now this is a green sweet bee on a thistle. The thistle is shaped like a crown, which means its plan for the insect who may land on it is to get the pollen on its feet and head, spreading it with those parts. Insects and pollination are both very vital for plants to stay alive so we can still have food to eat. Next, let's look at some special features of insects. These features make insects so unique because all insects are different in how they grow and change during their life cycles. Every insect has a different life cycle, but there are two major types, simple and complete. Let's compare them. The simple or incomplete life cycle of a widow skimmer includes 3 stages: egg, nymph, and adult. With most nymphs, they usually look like their adult selves, just smaller, but that's not the case with the widow skimmer. Well, they look way different. The stage lasts approximately 6 to 8 months. Isn't it interesting to know that the widow skimmer doesn't eat plants? The life cycle of the yellow jacket is different than the widow skimmer. The yellow jacket has 4 stages: egg, larva, pupa, and adult. This means the insect goes through a complete metamorphosis. It changes its body from a worm shape to one with wings. The larval stage lasts 17 to 20 days, which is much shorter than the widow skimmer nymph stage.
Every insect has a head, thorax, and abdomen. Different species of insects can all share the same ecosystem because each insect has their own physical adaptations. All insect legs have femurs, tibias, and tarsals. Even though all insects have these parts, they differ in shape and usage. For example, the yellow jacket has a hook on its tarsals for catching its prey. The soldier beetle's tarsals have hooks that can be used to cling to plants. All insects have their own special adaptations that have been evolving for a very long time. Many generations have worked to survive in their changing habitat and climate. Insects have also evolved to adapt to different plants in their habitats. Many insects are very particular about which plants they use for their shelter or food.
All living things, even humans, rely on a diversity of plants and animals. The human diet is over 50% plant-based, and most of those plants need insects to help produce seeds. All insects have a job in the ecosystem. For example, yellow jackets aren't just there to sting you. The yellow jacket pollinates all kinds of plants, such as goldenrods and apple trees. They also help our native gardens by eating pest-like insects. The soldier beetle uses native plants like the goldenrod and globe thistle for shelter and will eat the nectar for food. The silver-bordered fritillary butterfly also visits goldenrod for nectar. Humans think of goldenrod as a weed, but letting it grow in the corner of a yard can help over 100 different insects. All native insects have a balance with native plants. Native plants have been in Maine long enough to be in balance with the insects in the ecosystem. Native plants, especially woody ones, support many more species than invasive plants. If we have invasive plants in our gardens, the native insects won't be able to eat them. The balance of the food web would be thrown off as insects starve when they don't get the proper nutrients they need. Humans have used more than 90% of natural land for cities, subways, roads, farms, and houses. But we can fix our ways by taking action. We can make a garden and plant native plants. We can spread the word about insects needing local species rather than exotic plants from far away. We can help give back some habitat.
What would we lose if all insects died? Is it possible climate change can cause this to happen? Climate is the overall temperature and participation in the Earth's atmosphere over time. Climate change is a shift in the global or regional patterns. It can change the temperature drastically as well as the humidity, making the air quality different and harder for living situations. The rate of climate change can take thousands of years, or it can occur at a faster rate. happening more quickly. When the climate changes too fast, it has a bigger impact on the environment and the species in it. If climate changes too quickly, certain plants will die. It will affect the certain insects that need them. Carpenter ants use leaves from the New England aster and cedarwood to build nests. If these plants die off as the climate change shifts, then the ants will have to adapt using different plants. This can hurt the balance of species in the area. On the other hand, a fierce predator like the widow skimmer might be okay with the climate change for a short period of time. They may migrate north and eat insects thriving in the new environment, adapting to all these changes. Obviously, a drastic change in the population of insects in a specific area will affect the species in that ecosystem. However, we can help slow down the rate of these changes by doing various things such as switching to natural gas, recycling, or driving electric cars. Even planting a tree might help a little.
Humans cannot be the only species on this planet. We need other species like insects because they help create an ecosystem. Humans need a whole and diverse ecosystem to survive. Fortunately, extinction takes a long time. If we start sharing our landscapes with insects, we could save much more of the biodiversity that still exists. Here are 3 ways you can help insects in your own backyard. First, don't rake up the leaves in the fall. Leave some for the insects. Insects can use leaves for food and shelter during the winter. Second, put out a clean water in a shallow dish. Fill the dish with stones. This could be used for insect perching. Insect perching is when an insect rests on an object. Finally, use beneficial insects for pest control. Avoid using pesticides. They are deadly to many species.